Broadcasting from the Blanchardstown Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Dara O'Connor.
Yo, what's going on? It's Leon Sletta, and you are listening to Dara O'Connor on the Wrestling Rewind. You get me?
Welcome to the Wrestling Rewind, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling.
Hello everybody, it is Tuesday here on Phoenix FM when you're listening to this, but when we're recording this, it's Thursday, because we are sitting in Glasgow after seeing both Dynamite and Collision live from the Hydro Arena. My name is Dara O'Connor, and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. 1-0, Martin Hardy. How are you, Martin?
You'll have to forgive the raspy voice and the listless disposition. We did indeed see Dynamite in Glasgow. We also saw about 40 pints on 4 a.m. So
That's true.
Things are a bit rough here today.
I was never so glad to see a 4 a.m. chipper as I was last night, because I would have been a lot worse today if I hadn't have had some soakage.
A bit of soakage.
It wasn't even the pints, it was the cocktails we had after the pints.
It's the sugar in them, that's what I'm saying. It's not that the dark and stormies here in generous Glasgow come with about 4 shots of rum.
Now, to be fair, I did have 5 pints while I was in the arena, because when I walked in, Will Ospreay was cutting a promo, and I was like, I'm too sober for this. But no, I mean, look, all joking aside, it was cool to see the shows last night. We are going to go through each of them one by one, and we're not going to do the Ring of Honor tapings because, again, I totally missed them. But Martin, if you want to say a couple of things about them, you can. But we are going to talk in detail about Collision and Dynamite, and then later on this week we'll have Forbidden Door up as well. So, but look, straight off the bat, first thing I want to say is thank you to AEW, who did provide tickets. We were there on behalf of AEW, so just want to get that out there in the open before we go.
We're in the door now.
Well, I mean, you know, it wasn't like when I went to SummerSlam and that was on my own dime. This was AEW, so, you know, just wanted to put that out there first and foremost. But I also, if you're watching it, Martin, you had really good seats on one side, but I was on the hard camera side for the whole show. So if anyone's watching, you'll see Martin nearly being killed by Darby Allin at one point. And then you'll just see me randomly looking at the screen, because I have an awful habit of just looking at the screen and not looking at the ring anymore. Thank you, WWE, for that, because I just look at the screen now. But yeah, so look, I want to get that out of the way real quick. But okay, so first things first, we're going to start with Dynamite. So the way they do their tapings, they do Ring of Honor first, then they do Dynamite, then they do Collision.
Yeah,
and there's like a little bit of break in between it.
There wasn't a whole pile to it. It was Lance Archer did like a handicap match squash, and I think a couple of Ring of Honor guys had matches, but the crowd was kind of filtered in. Everyone was chatting among themselves. There was a kind of polite, respectful response to it, but it wasn't like a red hot for Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So look, a couple of production things that I kind of noticed. They need an extra screen
in the venue.
In the venue, yeah. So I did really like their big Titantron.
Yeah,
that looks great. It actually looks really, really good. The set itself, it's small, but it works for them, and having that big screen really does. It makes the show feel like a TV show. It's good, you know.
What I noticed in particular is the fireworks don't always look great on TV, but when they're live, in comparison to the size of the set,
the fire looks real good.
Oh, really good.
The fireworks. I mean, one thing when Edge came out, I'm just going to call him Edge because he keeps changing his name. He's just Edge.
Even I'm not calling him Cope.
He doesn't even half of them call him Cope, and then the banner's Adam Copeland. I'm like, geez, Edge. When he came out and he did his thing and there was no fireworks, I was like, oh. But then some of them got fireworks, so I was like, Look, if he's going to do it, at least give him the fireworks. But what I thought was really, really good, more than the fireworks, was the fire.
Yeah.
Because when Collision started, that seems to be their thing, is all the fire all the time.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Like, that still looks great. And I was like, whoa, that's really... Because I was obviously really close to it. I was like, oh, that's really warm.
Well, now, I was a good bit back.
Could you still feel the heat?
You could feel the heat from it. So
Wow.
I actually felt bad for, because the fire is also included with a few of the wrestlers for their entrance.
Yes,
And like, that
that's
must be
it.
like walking through an oven.
But it looks... I think the fire looks way cooler than the fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you use both of them. I mean, I really liked Mercedes got a brilliant firework entrance. You know,
I walked out when she came in.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah, I just can't stand her at all. Which is a shame. You'll get into it because she's actually really good in the ring, but she's such a head wreck.
Oh, she's phenomenal in the ring.
So look, we'll get into that match because that match was really good, but I just didn't want to be there for her entrance. But no, like, yeah, the fireworks for a lot of them were to see it in person compared to on TV. It works really well. But this is what I'm saying. Some of the production stuff from a live perspective, I would change it. And the first one would be they need another screen. Now, where I was on the hard camera side, obviously. So where I was looking, some of it was tarped off, which is fair. But that's where you put another screen just so you can see it. And it's not to improve the show, obviously, but it's to improve the live experience. Because what happens is loads of people stand up. And I felt like Otto being like, sit down, you're ruining it for everybody. And I just couldn't see a lot of them. I was like, if there had been another screen up above the ring, I would have been fine.
Or Tara, you could watch the ring.
No, I couldn't because people were in the way. They all kept standing up. I'm like, I'm not standing for Mercedes Moné. Like, it's not happening. But at the same time, it was just like, okay, that would have been nice. And even just having, I don't know, you could just watch the ring. You are right. But at the same time, you don't get to see everything that you can on TV when the screen isn't there. So I would put that in. Look, as I said, I just came from SummerSlam, and before that it was WrestleMania. WWE have spoiled me with the amount of screens. There were like 9 screens and those are in.
They've been a live production juggernaut for 50 years. Like,
that's true.
They have this thing down to an hour.
I would say though, having the screen at every angle that people are is an improvement, and I would just say that's what AEW should do. Just a smaller one, just to have it there. The other thing would be the live... The announcer, while she's great, she doesn't say a lot.
No.
And
like, you mean when she's like hyping the crowd up before?
Yeah, she doesn't like... I mean, look, I'm a TNA fan, obviously. And when JB used to be there, that man would talk for hours. He'd show between every segment, he'd get you hyped up. We have Don West giving you, coming out doing his free merch thing. So that works. WWE would do it as well. And I think where AEW is, they're not, WWE aren't as aggressive as TNA were with hyping up the crowd for Impact, which some people say is too much, but it always got the crowd wild. Now, here's the thing, the crowd were super into it last night, and they were, and I'm not saying that, they had that problem, because TNA were trying to get Theme Park fans into it, so they really had to overcompensate.
Dishevelled, confused
getting in out of the Orlando heat,
I'll tell you one production thing that they have to figure out, and it's been an issue they've had for years, because I was going on social media this morning to see what the response was. That crowd last night was rabid.
Yes.
But all the social media is saying, oh, I'm really disappointed. I thought the Scottish crowd would have been noisier. I was like, they were so loud. Like, it's obviously the way AEW is miking the crowd. They're not miking the crowd.
This is what I'm saying to you. It's not focused, right? They were rabid all night, and I can't... it would be a lie to say they weren't, right? But because the way they don't, it's not focused at all. It's completely dispersed. They're rabid all night, but they're not like, hey guys, we're coming back from commercial, start screaming.
Yeah.
Which, again, look, that's very WWE, but
yeah,
it works.
You don't want to engineer it too much.
But it works, right? And that's one thing I wish they did a little bit more. But, we were talking about this last night. It's it's the commercialism of it, where do you want to capture the live crowd or do you not? Because again, when you're there, it was one of the most active crowds that I've been in some time.
Yeah.
Consistently, everyone in that arena were huge fans. Now I went in
from Dynamite right through to Collision.
Oh, absolutely,
the whole way they were.
They were totally into it. So sometimes it doesn't come across on TV, and this is why when I was making some notes, I was like, right, this is maybe some of the things you can change. But then again, as we were talking about last night, Martin, it would change the whole vibe of that fan base, because there are certain things that AEW needs to do, in my opinion, as very much an outsider, that would help me and help other people, and that's one of the ways I think you're right. Another thing that they do, and we will get into the matches in a second, my final thing on this, not only does the announcer not hype up the crowd, video packages. Now, they'd have a couple of video packages, and they were quite good. And now we did talk about this as well. At Forbidden Door, they're probably going to have a bunch of them, and their pay-per-view PLE shows are always really, really good doing this. But one or two matches last night, particularly the match again, and look, it's my own fault for not knowing who they were, but we had Ishii and Takeshita. There you go, Takeshita. And I was just like, I had no idea who they were. Now that is on me, but at the same time, she didn't make a big deal out of it.
But it
wasn't until 5 minutes in when I was like, shit. I was like, that's Ishii. What? And Takeshita, I was like, why am I not? And I was like, okay, there should have been something, been like, hey, look, here's, and we talked about this last night. Here's the winner of the G1 Climax.
He should have been announced.
It should have been announced, or they should have had like a video package from New Japan of it just before. Because he just walked out like he was, dude.
Generally, I like that AEW do like far less of the video packages, because I don't know, it feels insulting. It's almost hand holding. It's almost telling you what to do. But there are key moments when huge things happen, particularly when they happen in other companies.
Yeah.
So I actually, generally, I like the way they do it. But with the cases like our guy and AEW guy winning the G1, that should be massive. And like, you only hear about that on social media. Why? Like, okay, we'll have to go and watch it on TV to see. Maybe there was some, maybe it was made a much bigger deal of by the announcers. Obviously we couldn't hear the commentary, but certainly if Takeshita just won the G1, he would have a new video. It would be footage of it would be mentioning that he is the G1 winner. I would have had Don Callis come out and do a whole thing.
Look, again, that's what I'm saying to you. It's like, on TV, obviously, the commentators are going to do their job, right?
Yeah.
And that goes without saying. But from a live crowd, again, I went in relatively cold, and the match won me over completely. And only 5 minutes in that I realised who it actually was. And I was like, what are you doing? Now, look, again, there's a line between, having, TNA style bullet points of everything that's going on and then WWE force feeding you the show every half an hour. But someone could have said something. As Don Callis, because he was on the show the whole time, which again, I really like Don Callis, but having him, he was on the show all the time. He could have come out and said, hey, look.
Yeah.
So that from a production standpoint, when you're watching the shows live, to make it a bit, and look, I can hear what you're saying, but to make it a bit more accessible, they just need to kind of tweak, not even change.
Oh yeah,
small little tweaks would be the difference between, oh, this is a big deal, and then, oh, this is a big deal. So they're just some of the things that I had to call out immediately, because I was just like, wish this had happened.
I'd also say, before we get into the review proper, that match by match, if you're watching this, probably not like a super Dynamite, but I think that's because this was a go home.
It was go home.
So you had a lot of tags, you had a lot of multi-mans, you had a lot of segments, which you don't normally get on Dynamite's not very segment heavy.
But
this is you can hardly give away the big match Wednesday when you've got your pay-per-view on Sunday.
And not only like give away the big match, but like it's Forbidden Door. It's not like an AEW show. You know, it's our big crossover.
AEW, New Japan,
CMLL,
CMLL, Stardom.
It was
I think Rev Pro has someone out this year as well.
But here's the thing, I really liked the fact that that there was all these kind of crossovers. It was kind of cool. But yeah, like Dynamite felt like, so we'll get into Dynamite proper now. So Dynamite felt like it felt really like a Raw.
Yeah.
Like a bad Raw. And I mean that in the best possible way, because it had all the problems of Raw, but no real stars. And this was disconnecting for me, because I was like, why are you trying to be like Raw? And then you just hit the nail on the head. It's because it's focused like a go home Raw show.
Yeah. Also, no real stars, because you're not like an AEW fan.
Yeah, but
I'm an AEW, so see, for me, seeing Speedball Mike Bailey, like, that was huge for me.
Okay.
Ospreay, Luchasaurus coming back, Takeshita, even though they didn't announce that he just won the G1, like for me as a regular watcher, I put these guys in my eyes up there with meeting, you know, Brett, Jake the Snake. Like,
that's fair. I'm going in cold, not as an AEW fan. What I'm saying,
Go Home, probably not the best show to go in.
But here's why I'm saying that. It annoyed me, because when Collision was on, Collision won me over immediately. I was like, this is unbelievable. What was that we just watched? It was a complete waste of time. And it annoyed me, because I was like, the bad taste in my mouth was from Dynamite. I was like, okay, you're trying to be like, this is like a bad Raw, but there's no draws in it except Edge and Christian. And they built a show around that. I didn't really understand it. I'm here for wrestling, and the wrestling wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a bit why I was confused. I was like, why are you trying to be... But then, you know, Takeshita obviously is huge, Speedball, whatever, but like, it confused me. And it's like
you were saying, Collision is generally much more match heavy. Like that was a fairly typical Collision.
But it wasn't that it was match heavy. It's like, it felt like what AEW claims to be. And Dynamite just, it didn't feel good, you know? But there were some cool moments in it, right? Now look, I'm not trying to be harsh on it, right? But when you walk in and I see the one wrestler who I hate more than anything other than Cody Rhodes, Will Ospreay, cutting a promo, I was disgusted. So it started off bad for me, but that segment got pretty good near the end, because they had the big brawl. Now look, Moxley coming through from the outside into the arena. I love outside shots.
Yeah,
I really like outside shots. So when he came in and it was starting to be all dusky, thought that was really cool. Right, so
it was also, you could tell how much everybody loved that, because as soon as Mox's music started, the whole crowd stood up and started looking around
the arena,
trying to see where he was going to come from.
It was great. No, and that's when it was cool. And then that's when we kind of got like those big star moments. Like, obviously Moxley is a huge star, and you know, that's when so what was frustrating about Dynamite is when they hit the right points, it really hit, but it was really unfocused. And I think Dynamite doing a show like this, it doesn't really work for them, because it's not part of their brand. Stick to the wrestling and you'll be fine. But then again, on the flip side, they can do really cool moments.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in two minds. Like, I'm going to ask you, Martin, like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer these kind of big moments where they're kind of awkwardly figuring it out and it does work? But sometimes, now we'll get to one moment that we talked about last night that just, you know, the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It failed. Or would you prefer like match?
No, I prefer them being match heavy. But like, again, like I said, there's two things. It'll be interesting to watch this back on TV, because it is a very different experience live, and like with the use of the commentators and that, they can thread things together
right
more easily. And again, this was, I mean, Collision, this was the go home for Forbidden Door. So the other thing is that a lot of the guys they have in Forbidden Door, Ospreay, Kenny, like a lot of them are either injured or on the verge of injury.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't going to take Ospreay, so Ospreay came out and did a whole.
Ospreay's injured now at the moment.
He
His
came
knee
out
or
and he
something,
did
right?
a whole thing about how he's basically letting people know that after Forbidden Door he's going to be gone for a long time to get surgery. So you couldn't bring him out on Wednesday and have him do a banger of match
Because he's going to injure himself on Sunday. Yeah. You did it, so he's going to injure himself Sunday, yeah.
So I really enjoyed the show. Like I say, live is a totally different
See,
experience.
Will Ospreagh,
But-
how you fix Will Ospreagh? You don't let him talk. You put him in a mask and you give him a heater.
I like him. I like it. I think he has a real down to earth. He doesn't come across overly produced. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you do like the Governor thing and it falls a bit flat. But look, it's what I like about it is
As a Northern Irish
genuine.
man, I'm shocked you give it. I'm so shocked you give him so much credit. I mean, if he was in the Fed, you would be tearing him apart.
Honest to God,
You would.
see if someone's good in the ring. That is the big thing for me.
And he is great in the ring.
You know,
I
what we were talking about him earlier, one of my favourite wrestlers, Speedball.
yes.
Dreadful in the mic, but I love him so much because he's great, so good in the ring.
Look, as I said, AEW strength, right? And it is true. It's in the ring, right? All this other stuff, it doesn't really matter, and it's frustrating because, like,
Yeah,
you don't have it. Look,
but that's what I'm saying. That's not typical for Dynamite.
I was frustrated is the word when Dynamite was on. I was like, it feels like TNA badly. Bad TNA, not current TNA, like bad TNA, Vince Russo nonsense. Because there was just this nonsense, and I get it. It was a go home, and I'm just like, oh no, And that's why when Collision was on, it's complete. Now we will get to it. We'll finish Dynamite. Now I don't want to be too harsh on it, but if I am being negative, it's because the air was let out for me with Dynamite, right? In some ways. Now that being said, I really, really, really enjoyed the Tony Schiavone, Edge, Christian Cage segment.
Yeah.
One, because, I mean, Adam Copeland, Edge, and Christian, which is a cool segment anyway. I've also never seen Tony Schiavone in person before, and I love Tony Schiavone.
Oh my God.
So
I was going up the steps and he was signing autographs for girls and I nearly fangirled myself.
Yeah, and I was
Run
just,
away.
oh my God, that's because last time at All In, obviously I was like behind the stage, miles up, so the dot I think was Tony Schiavone at one point, but that was about it. So I was like, oh my God, it's Tony Schiavone. I've been watching him since I was 8 years old. It was cool, right?
I still hear, whenever I hear him, I'm listening to him on AEW.
And you're back in the
watching AEW, and the whole thing I'm thinking is 1990s WCW.
No, so yeah, it's great. I was just like, and when I heard him like doing the interview, I was just like, even though I was at an AEW show watching, I was like, I feel like I'm a kid watching WCW again. So I properly like lost myself for a moment to be like, this is great. And that segment was fun. I really like how Christian Cage is just, he's not changing himself at all. And he's like, look, I won't betray you, even though I'm a bad guy. And then Adam's like, we don't swear because they swear on this and we can't say it. But yeah, he says, he's my whatever. But he's my friend and blah, 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 blah. And I really like that kind of maturing of it. It was so natural to, you tread their needle through WWE to TNA back around to AEW.
Yeah.
And it's a really consistent show. It's great. So this is one of the best things that they've done. It's nice to see them not go back to the well, but like develop it out. It's like the same way when the Hardys went to TNA and did the whole delete thing. They're still the Hardys, but they're in different kind.
It would have been very easy for them to go, all right, you're Edge and Christian again, do like the 10-second pose and all that crack. And I think that would have felt reductive and cheap. And
people would have still liked it.
Oh, like, who isn't going to pop for it? But it's not like
this was way more interesting.
Yeah, they're telling a story of these lads evolving and who they became, not who they were.
You know what it is? I'll use this analogy. Team 3D, the Dudleys never moved on.
No.
They did briefly, and it was really bad with Aces and Eights, which you haven't seen, but we will. We will.
I took my licks.
It was real bad. But, now I've gone back to just being Devon get the tables, right? Because it never really worked. The Hardys were able to make it work, and Edge and Christian are, obviously able to make it work as well. So this was a really fun segment. Okay, look, the real downside here. No, hold on. Wait, no, sorry, that's later. Brodito, Brodito, is that his name?
Oh.
Brodito and FTR,
Match.
fantastic.
Unbelievable. So
Fantastic.
Brodito is Bandito and Brody King.
Yes. So fantastic match. FTR are just unbelievable.
It's so hard to dislike them.
You can't.
Even when they're
You can't.
heels, they are so good. Like, they know pro wrestling, like inside and out. They do it. See, when you're watching them live, so obviously when you're watching the TV show, the camera chooses what to focus on.
Yep.
When you're watching live, you can choose whatever you want to focus on. You watch FTR all night, and there is not a second of the show where they are not fully committed to the fact that this is a competitive fight and I am a competitive athlete. Like, everything they do is full of just little touches and little kind of nods to the realism of it. You know, they lock down kayfabe. As soon as they walk out there, they are not performers. They are two wrestlers in a competitive fight, and they're masterful to watch.
So the question I had, because I went to the toilet and came back, and this match had started. So I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to miss this match at all. So I missed the original announcement. Was this a hardcore match?
No, this is the final of the tournament to face Hurt Syndicate.
Yes, it was. But what I'm asking is, they used tables. So this is the question I have. In TNA, they would just let stuff go if stuff happened, and obviously in ECW, every match was a hardcore match. So
no, in AEW, so this is my reading of it. If you hit someone with something, that's illegal use of a weapon. But if someone lands on something, that's not.
But he pulled the table out from underneath the ring.
Yeah, and put him through it.
That's not disqualification.
My reading of it is that if you land or go through something, that's not. But if he were to then lift a bit of the table and strike him with it, that would be a DQ. Because then you could argue that doing a body slam outside the ring, that should be a disqualification.
Yeah, but I mean, okay.
You know,
tables are okay.
Again, it's not like there's a hard and fast rule to it. Was the ref distracted or anything when that was happening?
No, it was clean. See, this thing, because they worked a draw finish, which I will get to in a second. But when you put your table, I'm like, that's disqualification. You know, so I don't know. It's weird. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, people listening.
Yeah.
In AEW, what's the rule?
It's interesting. It's like that discussion we had last year about if Kurt Angle choked someone with his singlet.
Yeah,
is that a DQ or is it not? Like,
that's a DQ.
You know,
that's
part of. But that's part of his. That's like kicking someone with your boots on. You know,
it's true. Yeah, it's.
So I genuinely do. I'm only going from my reading of it.
I don't know. I'd love to know, because I mean,
yeah.
And look, I wouldn't have really noticed other than they were working the rule with the draw. You know, for the match thing. It's like, wait, which rules matter here? You know, because TNA would do it, but they put up the rules before the match.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to book it that way, you have to.
Sometimes TNA will put up the rules before the match, and it'll be an 8-foot long PDF.
Oh yeah, but at least you know where it is. You know, it's someone doing a PowerPoint presentation of what's going on. But at least you know what the rules are. And I'm just kind of like, I'm just a little bit confused. So I want to go back and watch that again just to see. But look, as I said, from a match perspective,
again,
fantastic match.
Be interesting to hear what the commentators
for sure. Because I mean, that was the one bit where they lost me a little bit. The end of this match obviously was a draw. They were kind of counting down. You know, you have 5 minutes left, 3 minutes left, 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it obviously finished in a draw. Now, I was a little bit annoyed that it was a draw. And by a little bit, I mean, I was like, this is goofy nonsense. I think that's what I screamed.
I thought they earned it.
But I mean,
the match was so good.
Yeah, but
they fought so hard.
I wanted one of them to win. I wanted FTR to win.
I was kind of angling for Brodito. Yeah, myself.
I wanted FTR to win because they were like, both teams were great.
Yeah.
But so when did Brody King get busted open?
Oh, that was early enough in the...
Because that's when I came back and I was bleeding. And I texted
Yeah.
you. I was like, my exact text was, "Who's the fat guy that's bleeding?" And I was just like, because I didn't know who it was, because I walked in halfway through.
Amazing.
Look, both teams were amazing.
But he got busted open fairly early on.
What happened?
It was the other side of the ring, outside the ring.
Right.
So I saw them scrapping, and then when he got in the ring, he was bleeding. So I didn't actually see. Again, I can't wait to watch the show on TV.
I wish there was like an intermission between the tapings or in the middle of the tapings, because when you were gone to there was an intermission between Collision, which was 2 minutes, which was, I wanted to go hang out with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's starting.
I actually know what that is. You have to be out of the Hydro by 11.
Do you? Okay, that makes sense.
So they did two 2-hour shows.
Yeah.
And a raw pre-tape.
Yeah.
So like 6 o'clock,
you're pushing
11 is very tight.
No, but as I said, like that was the one downside. You had to kind of pick and choose when you were going to the bathroom or going for a drink or something like that, and it was just like,
yeah,
I'm going to miss something.
I missed something. I was gutted. I missed Tony Storm's entrance, although hopefully I'll see it at Forbidden Door, and I missed the start of the Edge and Christian thing. Rage, and I missed that as well.
See, I was trying to be judicious what I was missing and what I wasn't. But obviously I missed the start of the Bernita match. So yeah, a couple of good video packages kind of explaining what the story was with Strickland and Okada. But look, the downside, the real annoying part of this night happened. All right, now we talked about this yesterday and today. So they were building up through the night that Mark Briscoe was looking for MJF.
Yeah,
and he found him. And his lads, his floozies attacked him and tied him to a chair. And when Hangman was in the ring, they cut to hey, look, we have Mark Briscoe, blah blah blah. I want these stipulations. 1, title changes hands on the qualification. 2, title changes hands on a count out. And 3, I don't need to use my Money in the Bank briefcase, or what did he call it? Casino
is casino gauntlet.
Casino gauntlet. For anyone who doesn't know, they're pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah. Well, the only difference is I don't think you can like run in and
you have to announce it, right?
Yeah, I think it gets you a match. Yes, but I don't think you can
just cash in,
run in the middle of the show,
which is a much better way to do it, to be fair. Yeah. So he doesn't want to use his contract, and this is where it lost me. They douse him in petrol or diesel, and they announce that, look, we're going to, this is real diesel, and they're doing the whole, it's smelly, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, he holds the lighter up and he's like, go set him on fire. You have 5 seconds. Okay. So here's the bit, here's why it loses me. And I explained this to you yesterday.
I think I'm 100% with you here.
He's on international television for a wrestling match, right? And look, even if this is real, right? We're going to shoot here, right? For a wrestling match, you're going to commit murder on international television for a sporting contest. Now, here's the thing: what happens if he says no? You're going to jail forever.
Kill him
forever. Like, it's just the goofiest thing I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah,
it's up there with Kane. So it's up there. It is how bad it is. It's up there with Kane putting electrodes on Shane McMahon's testicles.
Yeah, no, I'm
Vince Russo level nonsense.
100% with you. I was doubly disappointed in this because it was just terrible, goofy crap,
and there was no reason for it. But you made a good point last night. So say what it is. Yeah. I think this would have saved the second.
Yeah, so I'll say 2 things. So yeah, it was terrible, goofy crap. I was very disappointed with it. And I was doubly disappointed with it because last week where Hangman goaded Max into using his contract, he was like, oh, here's like an actual smart baby face. It felt real. It felt realistic. So I was doubly disappointed that they kind of ruined that this week. But yeah, what this reminded me of was, do you remember Austin holds the gun on McMahon?
Yeah.
He's putting a gun in McMahon's head and you're like, this is insane. You're going to shoot someone on live TV. And then he pulls the trigger and the wee flag comes out.
And then it says bang.
Bang. Yeah. So the whole thing was he was He was just scaring McMahon.
Yeah.
This could have been saved if after Hangman agreed to everything, MJF had sniffed the petrol can and said, "Oh, my mistake, it's just water."
Yeah.
And then instead of being a psychopath trying to set someone on fire, he's a babyface. He's a heel who tricked the babyface.
Or if he had been like, "I'm not going to murder you. I'm not going to kill
Yeah, I'm not going to kill someone on live TV, Hangman, you idiot."
Yeah, because that would have been in character.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Because, I mean...
Isn't it amazing how you can have a whole thing and how one line can either ruin it or save it?
I mean, that would have been more MJF to do that.
Yeah.
Than I'm going to set someone on fire. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Goofy nonsense.
I'm 100% with you here.
And I was just like, MJF, you're way smarter than this.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, look.
You know it's bad when I won't defend it.
It was the one part of the whole night where I was like, there is no defending this. This is, you know.
No, I was the same.
The next match, though, surprisingly good. And the only reason I say surprisingly good is because I didn't realise how good Mercedes Moné actually is. Now, is she worth all the money they're paying them? No.
You got to go back watch her string of matches from last year.
No, hold on.
No, but seeing all the top 10 matches like from 2024 match of the year lists, she has like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, no, and look, but is she worth all the money they're paying them? No. Are all those belts warranted? They're a bit silly. It's also TNA goofy nonsense when they had Kurt Angle come out with 9 belts. That happened.
Like I
he was a tag team champion by himself once.
Well, see, that's the difference. There's not anything like that.
Not yet.
No, but she is legitimately going around all these indies, and she's legitimately showing up and wrestling in Poland. You know, and winning.
I know. It just looks real goofy, man.
Well, I like it, and I think it shows her commitment to, like, what did she say when she left WWE? She's like, I want to do like a prop, like I want to promote women's wrestling around the world, but she's doing it.
Yeah, but
look at it this way. Imagine you're a Polish wrestling company. You're probably not getting a lot of coverage, and now Mercedes Moné is on TV every week with your belt. That's huge.
Yeah, but she also okay. That's what I would say about TNA, and you're like, but the Fed are beating their guys and taking their belt. It's the same thing, is it not?
I don't think you can compare TNA. Like, TNA is like a global TV brand. Like me and you aren't going, "Oh, I'm not tuning into Polish pro wrestling this week," you know. But whenever NXT's constantly coming in and like beating TNA's top guys and taking their belts, like it's.
But here's the thing,
and it has the added problem of NXT still being in this midway where you're like, is it a program or is it developmental?
Yeah, but like, it's just I'm not a huge fan of when they do this long term, because the only person that's getting over is Mercedes. And look, as I said, my opinion of her has changed seeing her work, because the match itself was very, very good. I also really, really like Athena. Athena's great.
The other thing is, she's going to have to drop those belts at some stage. So she will be going back to Poland and putting over whoever they're top.
Or she could just leave and just keep the belts.
I feel like Ric Flair.
Well, yeah, I mean, and CM Punk, he's still the world champion. Like, it's, you know.
Do you ever Ric Flair? So apparently, whenever you won the title in WCW, you had to put down
a deposit,
like a $1,500 deposit in case that happened.
Belt, yeah.
So whenever Ric Flair left WCW, they wouldn't give him his deposit back. So he just kept the belt. So he was like on WWF TV
with it.
What was he was calling it? The Real World's Championship.
So was CM Punk with the thing, and so was Medusa. You know, so they don't have to let the belts go. You know, they can't just hang on to them. Toni Storm, I love Toni Storm. She's one of my favorite wrestlers. Women wrestlers in general. I was going to say women's wrestlers, but wrestlers in general. And also, team with Alex Winter, like, she's really good too. So
really good.
This main event,
she got a lot of flack when she came in, like it was a nepotism hire because she's Osprey's missus, but no, she's actually very good.
I'd rather watch her than watch Osprey. I'll be honest with you. But no, I thought this main event, you know, fair play to them. It was having not only, your main women's competitors there, but having the Ring of Honor women's champion there in the main event was a risky move in one sense, but the crowd were super respectful, super into it. There was one or two creepy guys, but you know,
It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. It's like, as I said, it's not an AEW thing. When I was at WrestleMania, some guy kept screaming, "We want mommy."
Yeah. Here when I was in the queuing to get into the building, we were outside in this huge open, like the Scottish wind is blowing. We're out in a big open area. I swear to God, the BO of the guy behind me would have knocked out a horse.
Bro,
so
listen,
like Austin wasn't joking when he did that whole, do you remember his whole promo about, "Hey, wrestling fans, you see this? It's called soap. You rub it on you."
Listen, you know, stereotypes sometimes exist for a reason.
Yeah, they are not reflective of the whole fan base, but they don't come from nowhere.
They don't come from nowhere. Like, listen, if you can afford a £600 belt, you can afford a shower, right? Deodorant cost $120 in Boots.
Easy, lad.
Go get it. You know, have a showers are fun. You might like one.
Yeah.
But again, that is not an AEW. That's wrestling fans across the thing. Again, I was at SummerSlam. There was a bang there too. At Comic-Con, 3:00. You'll get that smell as well. They need to know what they need to do. At WWE last year, WrestleMania had dude wipes as one of their sponsors.
Yeah.
Maybe give people
on the way
in, spray them down with dude wipes or Linux, or not Linux, Lynx.
And you know what? Like, it was literally just that one guy.
But you remember,
he was bad enough.
Could you taste him?
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's so much worse there.
Behind the eyeballs.
Yeah.
But he was one of those things that if you took someone there who's not a wrestling fan, they would be like, okay, all wrestling fans stink.
Yeah, that's what they'd remember.
Yeah.
But they remember. It's again though. It's unfortunate when stuff like that happens. But look, I've said it with Comic-Cons, wrestling. They should have a sponsorship where you walk in and they spray you down. And that sounds awful, but come on. Like, a lot of women were at the show, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was nice.
A lot of women. So
it wasn't all creepy dudes and things.
It was a really good mix of the ages and
a lot of couples.
Yeah.
Too. So look, Dynamite, mixable for me. Kind of, it felt very like a Raw. Like, again, I've been to many Raws. But the difference was the matches were so much better than any you'd see on Raw ever.
There's one other thing happened on the show that I want to ask you about.
Sure.
I love this, but because you don't watch AEW Weekly, I'm actually really intrigued to get your views on it. What did you think of Max Caster's Can You Survive 5 Best Wrestler Alive?
That was fun. Fun.
Oh, I'm glad you liked that.
The only thing I didn't like about it was it wasn't anything got to do with him. I really enjoyed him. I liked his shtick. Obviously, having Zack Sabre Jr. come out was class.
Oh, mate, right.
That was class. I'm not gonna lie. I popped hues because I'm actually really looking forward.
Zack is going to murder this man.
I'm so looking forward to seeing him at Forbidden Door. Right,
it's going to be door card.
It's going to be unbelievable, right? But at the same time, I was like, he's going to kill this guy, and he did. He did in 2 minutes.
He tied him up like a pretzel. It was fantastic.
What ruined it was the guy behind me, the 4 guys behind me, who kept trying to put themselves over the whole night. And as this guy just screaming in my ear his catchphrase, Max Caster's catchphrase, the best wrestler.
Oh, let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive.
For 15 minutes. You can probably see the frustration. If I look frustrated at any point during the show, it's because of the guy behind me who just kept screaming after 15 minutes. And then the 4 guys behind me who put themselves over the whole night. And you said that too. There were guys who just kept doing it.
There is, and I don't know how you do it, because you want people to participate. You want people to scream. You want people to shout at the wrestlers. Like, wrestling is an interactive show.
It is an interactive
show. But there is a line between something genuinely coming to you in the moment because of the emotion of the show and people who you can tell are just trying to get themselves over.
Like, look, as I said, I would be a hypocrite to be like, oh, don't do that, because I mean, it's all part of it. But consistently for 6 hours, these guys were just the same thing over and over again.
I tell you, one of the, and again, this, we just give out about it now. I'm going to sound, I'm trying to put myself over. I'm not. But during the Max Caster, Zack Sabre Jr. match, went for 2 minutes, like Zack Sabre was just slapping Caster around. He was tying him up. And there was a crowd in front of me going, oh yeah, punch him, kick him. And then I shouted, boil him, mash him, stick him in a stew. big laugh, right? Great.
Yeah.
But you let that pass then. You don't then go, all right, I'm the main attraction here tonight, which I think is where some fans go over the line.
You left it there and he didn't bring it back 2 hours later.
I didn't try to start a chant over it.
Yeah. And look, I agree with you. I mean, SummerSlam, I got a Cody's lisp chant on. Right?
Yeah. You see, you can do stuff.
You can do stuff.
You want people to be...
Yeah, and to have the crack and to have the fun, and that's what's all about.
But you can tell the ones who are there because they're like so enthralled with what they're watching, and you can tell the ones who are like, oh, I thought of this earlier. And
when your left ear is ringing from a guy's voice screaming in it, that's the line.
And it's worse that it's
Max's. He wasn't right beside me. He was like a fair bit away, and it could still. He was like, "What are you doing?"
And it's actually worse that he was screaming Max's chant, because Max's chant is designed to be deliberately off kilter.
Yeah,
it's "Let's go, Max! You're the best wrestler." Like it's deliberately meant to be terrible.
It was, it was tough, But no, did I enjoy the segment? Yes, I did.
I just wondering. I
loved it. I was like, this is fantastic. And look, yeah, is it goofy wrestling nonsense for sure, but it really works.
Yeah,
and that's why it's kind of frustrating. Why Dynamite was frustrating, because it had so many good parts. It just needs some refinement. But again, as you said, if it's not the way they normally do their shows, it's a go home show. I'll give it a pass. But it came off like a Raw with better matches. And I mean that in the most true sense. It was like watching Raw. It was very WWE show, for better or worse. But again, you'll never see matches like that on WWE outside of like maybe SummerSlam or whatever. But I felt like I was watching Raw.
No. I think that's a fair enough analysis. Like I said, if you were just
then again, the matches were unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
like if you were just watching this as I've heard of this Dynamite, I'm going to give it a go. I don't think this would have been the best reflection of it, because it was a go home. They are dealing with guys who have big matches and who are already on a fairly precarious injury status.
Yes.
So it was segment heavy. It was tag and multi-man heavy. I don't think it's reflective of the show usually, but I get why. I get why you'd have that feeling.
And look, how they could have saved it. Don't have Will Ospreay cut a promo.
Don't have people threaten to be burned alive,
and don't have threaten to be burned alive. Very simple fixes.
Yeah.
Don't threaten murder. Don't have Will Ospreay speak. Very simple. But look, if had it ended there, I would have been like, oh, okay, I'm never doing AEW again. But boy, did my tune change with the next series of next show we got Collision. Collision was fantastic.
Is this your first ever? Have you ever watched Collision?
Yeah, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah,
I watched it with, because I was so disappointed. The air was taken out of me completely with Dynamite. I was like, that was really bad, and I'm very annoyed how bad it was. But it wasn't that because it was bad consistent. It was just the goofy nonsense of. I was like, it felt like I got the same feeling with Dynamite at the end of it that I got with TNA during the worst times. My TNA PTSD.
Yeah,
that got kicked in real bad. And I was just like, oh, it's exactly what I thought it was. But when Collision came out, completely different. It was like, I swear to God, I don't think the same person is booking the shows.
No,
different people are booking these shows.
No, it's just that Collision has a totally different vibe.
No, man, there's different people running that show. Whoever's running Dynamite is not running Collision.
No, I'm telling you, it's
It can't be.
it's because
It can't
do you remember when the Collision first started? And we actually had a discussion about it, and I said the one thing it needs to be, and I don't care how they do it, the one thing it needs to be is just different from Dynamite. It needs to have its own identity.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. Like that was the thing when I was watching it, I couldn't get over how different it was, and it wasn't just in like a superficial way. It wasn't just it had a different logo.
Yeah.
It started off with Don Callis coming out. Why people do not like Don
What a
Callis?
heat magnet.
But I don't get why people hate Don Callis. I mean, great. No, I know why he did in kayfabe,
Yeah.
but I'm like, he's great. He's like the best thing on the show. Don Callis is brilliant now. He always has been. I'm sad he doesn't have his boys anymore, but he still has his own floozies.
He's a bit like FTR in that in the kayfabe he's a bad guy,
But everyone knows.
but he's so good at it.
Yeah, he's
it's
so
kind of hard to hate him.
But what I didn't expect was that he has, he's like the heart of that show.
Yeah.
That's Don Callis' show,
Well, yeah. So
which is crazy. Can you when did that happen?
Well, because the Don Callis family is Takeshita, Lance Archer, Gates of Agony. No, not Gates of Agony. Takeshita, Lance Archer, and Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher's the TNT champion.
Yeah.
Collision is the show that's on TNT.
Right, that makes sense.
So a lot of Collision tends to focus around the TNT champion and therefore Kyle and the Don Callis family.
That makes sense. Also, like, okay, so the show started with a 6-man tag team of Skyfly and Takeshita defeating the Don Callis family. Great to see Josh Alexander. I haven't seen him since he left TNA.
Yeah, he's been doing really good. Largely Collision. He's with the Don Callis family as well.
That makes so much sense. He's such a this like Josh Alexander is one of the best to do it, but he didn't fit in TNA nearly as much as he fits in this current role, because he's not great on the mic. Giving him someone with like Don Callis to be his heater is perfect. And I think he'll do this run with the Don Callis family, and then I'm really looking forward to him having a real cool kind of shooters single run, maybe with something like the TNT title. He could even go up.
Yeah,
he could even go up. I mean, like,
brilliant. Like they brought him in high. Like he came in and his first match was against Hangman.
Oh yeah,
like
I said he could actually hold that belt.
Oh yeah, he's
eventually,
phenomenal.
You know. But I do think the TNT title is probably in his immediate, if not near future. Also, Lance Archer was there, and I just couldn't stop looking at his tramp stamp.
The tramp stamp.
I was just like, I know what's under that, Lance Archer. I know what's under that. You can't hide it from me. You know, it still looks. They should just, it's just. The whole time I was just staring at it, like. But this match, very, very good, really, really good. I think like it set the pace of what the show was in such a clean way.
Yeah,
that I was like, just because obviously Tony Khan comes out, cut this promo again. He did great, 2 minutes, and then he kept going, and it was like, oh no.
Do you know what I think might have happened there?
No.
I think they might have said, all right, 2 minutes, and then we go live. And then something went wrong, and they were like, okay, Tony, you need to vamp for another 5 minutes. He kind of looked lost. Like,
no, what I think happened is he said what he had to say, and then he got distracted by the lights. And he was just standing there. I was like, oh, geez, this is real awkward. It was real awkward. I said, we were joking downstairs. It was like, you know, when you ask a girl out for the first time, and you're like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. See you later, you know,
because he came out and he got the good response. He got the big cheers
over, and he said, look, here's what we need to do.
And then he just, now you need to leave too.
Because literally he was like, you know, hey, you know, would you guys want us to come back sooner? And he was like, yeah, okay, we'll come back sooner. It's like, but it just stands there. It's like, oh,
this is why I don't get the real like visceral hatred you get of him online, because he's such a goofball. Like, how could you hate him? He's such a goofball.
Yeah, see, I think if he leans into that more, like, I mean, if that had been on television, he could have got himself over like a Eugene.
No, but like we were talking about this earlier. I'm glad that he's not.
No, but that was endearing.
Yeah, but that should be something.
But that's not what people see.
But that should just be something for the live crowd. I think Tony Khan is, I think, one of his strongest strengths as a booker is that he recognizes he is not a performer and he keeps himself off TV.
No, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair. But no, I said I appreciated that that delineation where it was like, right, it's time for Collision. Again, the only thing I would say, and I know why they don't, we're going to go to break now in a second, but the only reason why I didn't, or what I would have liked, is some kind of little intermission.
Yeah.
Just more than 2 minutes, because it's a lot. You know, so
It's 5 hours we were there. Like,
fair play to the crowd. Like, even though the people might the crowd, they were there for 6 hours.
yeah, and there were.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I think that's down to the Hydro has rules. The guy down in the bar downstairs was telling me it's a bit like Wembley Stadium. You know,
Right.
They have to be
It
out
has
of
to
it
be out, yeah.
at 10:30 or 10:30. I think the Hydro has to have everybody out at 11.
Oh. Right, well, look, we're going to go to break. If you're listening to us on the podcast, obviously we'll be back after this break. If you're listening to us on Phoenix FM, thank you so much. We will be back next week. Please go over to the website, thewrestlingrewind.com or nerdtoknowmedia.com, where you'll get the rest of this show. And obviously we'll be posting Forbidden Door relatively soon. But we'll be back after this short break.
Keep on a lip, do you can.
You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Alright, so we're back here on the channel, Nerd to Know Media on YouTube. Please do like, share, subscribe. That helps us out a lot. Leave your comments below on this one. So obviously we just after doing some AEW shows, and one of the things that I wanted, Martin, one thing I was looking forward to was seeing Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't there.
No,
And not because
that's
I want...
unusual for when they go international.
Yeah, usually they bring him out, not because I wanted to see Jericho wrestle, because that's real bad, but I still wanted like the pop and the singing to Judas and maybe buying a t-shirt or something like that. And he wasn't there. So I was surprised that I wasn't, because like there has been some rumors that Jericho's on tour with Fozzy, and apparently his new album is real bad, which doesn't shock me. I mean, Fozzy still had me blocked on Twitter because I gave them a bad review once, and that album was real bad. Like, Fozzy hasn't been good since Enemy. You know, that was a good song. That whole album was quite good, actually. And then the album of covers was fun as well. But that's neither here nor there. But the point is, he's on tour. He just finished touring with them, and there's a lot of talk here that Jericho is going to go back to WWE. So AEW do this thing, and it makes sense. It's kind of what you do, where you actually block out their talent. They kind of put them on garden leave.
Yeah, if someone's contract is coming up and it looks like they're not going to re-sign, like, why would you put them in a long-term program? Right?
So they haven't put them. So Jericho hasn't been on TV in a while, and obviously the learning tree kind of separated from him as well.
Yeah.
So there is like a lot of talk here that Jericho's probably going to go back to WWE. Now, look, again, I was kind of bummed out that there wasn't any Jericho merch there last night. The merch was pretty poor overall.
And unusual that there wasn't even any merch.
Yeah, there was one section that just did merch.
Yeah.
And a lot of it wasn't good. I mean, I saw the worst shirt ever.
Don't say the Outrunners.
No, it was an AEW shirt. It was like, kayfabe is my love language.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, and I was like, listen, as someone who is literally wearing their own merch now, I didn't realise that it just happened. If you're making merch and you won't wear it, no one's going to buy it. And that that shirt was so bad that it was up there with AJ Styles' cum shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, don't buy that. Don't wear that.
I wouldn't wear that in public.
No, but like there was some really cringy merch there last night, but some of it was good. I know we're getting off topic, but the Rated R shirt was actually really good. Edge's one, that one sold out immediately. Which didn't shock me. But anyway, so I went. I was hoping that Chris Jericho would do something, and he wasn't. He wasn't there. So look, what I think will probably happen here is Jericho's going to go back to WWE for a Royal Rumble appearance.
Think so?
Yeah, and then that'll be it. He might do one more run somewhere, but I hope it's not on the main roster, and I hope it's not like a title run. It's a shame that he's not there with Cena to get that one match with Cena. That would be...
Yeah. I mean, his contract is up in December, so I suppose it kind of depends when in December, because when a contract just ends, like as in you fulfill the full terms of the contract, there's no kind of period where, you know, you're not allowed to show up on other shows. Like, contracts ends on the 1st, then you do whatever you want on the 2nd.
Yeah, because like I think they have adjusted the contracts now, but we don't know what Jericho's contract was like initially.
No,
because he was there pretty much from day one.
Yeah, you would imagine it was very favourable.
Very favourable to him, yeah, for sure. Now, the question I have for you, Martin, so we've talked about Jericho on the show and that he's been a net negative since probably the past year and a half. If you really want to be cruel, 2 years. Because he's getting older, he's getting up there. He's not the Chris Jericho that he was.
Yeah.
And he's actually been incredibly annoying. The hey buddy, that very annoying, right? Do you want to see him in AEW anymore?
Yeah, I never bought into this kind of a section of the fan base sort of like started to turn against him, like really viciously, which I never bought into. Look, he's not Chris Jericho of 2000. 2005, whatever. Obviously he's not. Time moves on and people age. Like, legends come out and I don't know, I think you make allowances for them. You don't, demand that you be the same Jericho you were when you were 25, So I think it's been hugely important to AEW. Even though he hasn't been great in the ring the past year or so, I think he's recognized that himself, and his position on the show has been kind of commensurate with his ability. Like, it'd be one thing, I could understand people getting really annoyed about him if current Chris Jericho was like gunning for the world title.
Yeah.
I could see people being annoyed with that.
Well, he did win the Ring of Honor title.
Yeah, he won the Ring of Honor title, but he kind of won it cheating, and also that was, I think, Tony Khan was in the middle of negotiations at that stage, trying to get Ring of Honor a TV deal, and having Jericho as their champion was, to try and give that a wee bit more, recognition. So I think he has a place in AEW.
Well, so that's what I was going to ask you. What is the place?
Either a kind of manager, or maybe, if you very carefully protected him in the way Sting was, come back as babyface Jericho, fans love him and all, and he wrestles very occasionally in very protected matches, have him do a couple of big spots and do all his usual shtick and that.
But either way, he's going to have to finish his career, I think, soon.
Well, the other thing, like I would not be surprised. This is not me saying he's not going to go to WWE. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he decides, right, this is the end of the run, body's breaking down a wee bit, I'll take a big WWE check, I'll do the handy Royal Rumble, I'll get the Hall of Fame induction and do all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does that. But he is on record, like multiple times, as saying, I don't want to retire, in that, as in, I don't want like a big, this is my retirement match. He says, I'm just going to keep doing what I do until I can't do it anymore. So it doesn't sound like he wants that kind of sign off. The other thing said is that the Hall of Fame is, this is with kayfabe nonsense. He says he doesn't put any value or worth into the Hall of Fame at all.
Jericho says a lot of things.
Yeah. Look, maybe you get to the end of your career, you change your tune, but I'm just saying that I genuinely don't know which way he'll go because
it's very hard to it's very hard to really put a point on. I mean, Jericho does say a lot of things. He has said some contradictory things, as most people have. But at the same time, they only spoke. So there's two things. There's one major thing going against him for WWE, right? He doesn't like Triple H. Yeah. Triple H is running WWE.
But if CM Punk can go back.
Yeah, but I mean,
and deal with Triple H, like
it's a little bit different. I don't think Punk ever actually wanted to leave. With Jericho, he started AEW. So why would you start a company, only to leave it? It doesn't really make any sense. But the thing that I would say would be a huge tick, that if he was going back to WWE, obviously, look, you have the Royal Rumble, you have the Hall of Fame, blah, 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 and you have the payday, which everyone likes a payday, right?
Yep.
But the other side is, he is legitimate best friends with HBK. Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels running NXT. Separately from Triple H, he doesn't have, so he could go there. Work there as a trainer, as an agent. I mean, there's a full career there that you could do.
Okay, there is a career there, but
full career, and a whole different run where he can go off. He can do his touring, still have that paycheck, and not have to do weekly shows or whatever. And I think that could be very appealing because NXT block tape.
Yeah,
it's the old TNA model where they tape a month of shows on a Tuesday or whatever, and then he goes off. So that could be appealing. But I think if AEW were to keep him, I don't see... Well, I mean, you get him have a run in Collision, which I mean would be a good show, but they'd have to offer him something similar to that, because I mean he does go off and do... Like, I don't know who's going to go see Fozzy shows, but obviously some people are. So,
but here's the thing: he is, like, you're right, he is best friends with Shawn Michaels, and they could do that. But he is a showman. Like, he likes to be in the ring, he likes to be on the stage, he likes to be on the mic.
Yeah.
I don't really see him taking a kind of a backstage, behind the scenes role somewhere, and particularly not in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would be going, like, right now, if he takes himself a kind of a Sting type deal in AEW, he can show up for the big 50,000 seater, when they do all
that's it. I mean,
that. That's if he goes to NXT, he's, like you say, doing block tapings in a warehouse with 200 people.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, it's so hard to say, because there's a good case for either or the other.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm really interested to see what he does.
Yeah, it really does. Like, it depends what Jericho wants to do. And it really is kind of like, well, what suits his lifestyle? I mean, he could come out and do a WrestleMania, which he might, but then again, you have to watch him wrestle, which is getting harder to do. So if there is that kind of thing where it's like, right, if I come back to WWE and I am working with NXT, I still want to have my moments. But then at the other point, it's like, those moments might not be good. And if you did it in AEW, well, we've seen what that happens. And after he sings, I mean, that's kind of hit or miss as it is. But look, I don't know. So as I said, I just wanted to have a talk and run through possibilities. I would say, you can't factor out that how much he doesn't like Triple H.
Yeah.
That's a huge factor.
Yeah.
And particularly imagine, someone who you don't like is now your boss. That's, and he's not hurting for money. He doesn't really need the money. And I mean, if he could just go to Tony and go, give me X, Y, and he will.
Yeah. The other thing is with Triple H, you can never be sure that he's not going to sign you to a big deal, bring you in. Yeah, of course, boss, we're going to do this, that, the other, get your name in the line, and then puts you out in a humiliation tour.
Maybe, but at the same time,
you just don't know.
Yeah, but Jericho's a smart businessman. He's not going to put himself in that situation. The only thing I would say, it's more likely, if he was like, WWE is likely if it was Royal Rumble, Hall of Fame, probably headlining the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and the WrestleMania moment, and then he goes to NXT. I think that's very likely. If that's the case,
a kind of a William Regal role in NXT.
Yeah, I 100% can see him doing that, right? But then it's also very likely that he's like, no, I'm going to come back as AEW and do this thing, kind of thing. So It's honestly 50-50.
It is.
The only real person who actually knows what's going to happen is Chris Jericho.
Yeah. I can all I can say is that as an AEW fan and as a day one AEW fan, I would be sad to see him go. He's not tearing up in the ring. He's not doing anything magnificent on the shows, but he's such a central part, like a core part of AEW's beginning, and he still can, on occasion when it demands, he can pull it out of the bag. Like he had a really good match with Ishii a while back. I would be sad to see him go.
It would just be weird to have another pillar of AEW gone.
Yeah.
And if I was Tony Khan now, I would be like, right, what do you want? And then give him that. But then again,
as long as it's not ridiculous, as long as he doesn't demand like creative control and a world title run.
I mean, look, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But at the end of the day, like
my nostalgia for him doesn't go that far.
Well, I mean, look,
I'd be sending him off to Titan Towers if those were his demands.
Yeah, but as I said, it's just the only person who knows the answer to that is Jericho, really. But. Yeah, so look, we're going to leave it there, guys. What would you rather do? Would you rather have Jericho in WWE or AEW? And tell us why. Leave it in comments below.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.